Y2K is a smash hit. Oh.
We're actually going to this New Year's thing. It's going to be a total show.
44% all critics, 37% top critics, and that scores just the amount of people that think it's above average. And this really surprises me with the top quality talent they chose for the movie.
Someone's on the net.
And the movie just had some really strange interviews. Now, I understand Rachel Zegler, born in 2001, she wasn't even around for the millennium. Probably partly excuses the insanity, as she's never been around to witness civilization. And yet, despite this, you would expect somebody to know or understand that the time period existed.
What did y'all know about Y2K growing up?
I feel like it had mostly been used to describe a certain aesthetic.
Once you notice things like this, you can't unsee it. It is peak unable to abstract. Well, I wasn't around for the 90s, therefore I just didn't think it existed.
I feel like it was more used as an adjective to describe things, like, oh, that's a super Y2K outfit.
The only way she can perceive or comprehend the 90s existing as a time is via dresses that she's seen in her own personal life.
For like clothing, music, era of films, era of time.
So the movie probably doesn't even make sense to the crew of the movie, which is going to be a problem. You want to make a comedy movie and tell jokes that you don't even get yourself? I don't see how that's going to work. And it didn't.
There are no Y2K experts. No one knows exactly what, if anything, will happen.
In fact, it achieves the award of one of A24's lowest scores ever. But it's still fresh! No, it isn't. In fact, it was described as like an algorithm that's become corrupted. Or that if there was a Millennium virus, it infected the entire production, and this mess is the result.
Break that, break that, break that, break that, break that, break that.
Y2K. Having Rachel Zegler face a homicidal Tamagotchi, something that she probably didn't even know what it was. Yeah, it's this electronic toy where your pet poos itself to death. Yeah, like in Portland. Or how the movie thinks it's funny to just collect references to tech.
That's pimp as hell.
You've got mail.
Makes his directorial debut by diving headfirst into the nostalgia shallow end. Now, one of the things about nostalgia is it's supposed to be you reminiscing about a better time, which it was. But part of making you believe that is making it authentic. You'd have to make a movie which was of a better time. And this has Rachel Zegler in it. A product of a very modern age, a privileged class that just can't comprehend the glory of what it was like to live under the patriarchy.
It's 1999 and we getting drunk.
Obviously, I jest. This was 1999, not 1899. We'd have to go back a lot further to make me nostalgic. But when you're trying to sell your movie with interviews about doing a romantic porta potty scene, I can't help thinking, this wasn't made for me. Although I do think this movie was made for Rachel Zegler. Her movies are always full of crap. And I totally get why Rachel Zegler wasn't into it. The romantic porta potty scene. I understand why she wasn't in the loo going, this is my kind of thing. Who? What? I need to get one of these for my own house. Like, seriously. To clarify, it was mostly chocolate. I'm so glad you clarified that, mate. I was getting scared. I know it was a low-budget movie, but I didn't expect that much recycling, thank you very much. And they kind of set this porta potty up on hydraulics, and then were just shaking us around. It was a pretty good time. You need a hobby, mate. The director jumped in and said, yeah, I don't like throwing people under the bus, but I feel like Rachel really did not enjoy it. I think there are only 2 takes, ultimately, of the interior porta potty. That makes it sound like she was unable to act how she was supposed to in the scene, and he's like, we should probably cut most of that out. I mean, face like a slapped arse.
All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Well, I'm happy that Martel had fun shooting the porta potty scene. I get why Zegler would not be having the same reaction to shooting. Yes, because he's fun. Probably the kind of person you're meant to have in a comedy movie. She's Rachel Zegler. Oh, Rachel wasn't entertaining and happy. Can you believe it?
I'm a white Latina. I hold a lot of privilege. It falls on my shoulders to open up the doors for the people who, or they're disenfranchised.
I can't believe she wasn't the life and soul of the comedy. I always like the theories of comedy, and one is that to be funny, you actually have to hate the world. And the funnier you are, the more you despise the world. If you are Rachel, having been given everything on a silver platter your entire life, just for being the category you are, probably not the best comedian.
I hold a lot of privilege.
Check out this dream, amazingly nostalgic popcorn bucket. Do you want to know what a nostalgic popcorn bucket is? It's a popcorn bucket. Having themed popcorn buckets is a new thing. They made a hilarious joke. You better not have hyped this up much. You've raised my standards. Yeah, a CRT popcorn bucket isn't nostalgic because it didn't exist. Nobody did that to a CRT monitor. Also, I don't think you could get away with this without getting copyright infringement. That might be why Y2K is bombing at the box office. It craters with a $2 million debut. And even though this movie had a budget of around $15 million, if it's opening to $2 million, it's not looking good, is it, for profitability? And it's certainly not looking good for Zegler. Says Deadline. Zegler has been the poster child of Hunger Games and West Side Story. She's the poster face to sell those films, and yet she can't even sell a $15 million movie.
Weird.
Any movie star worth their pay packet should be able to bring enough people in just by their reputation alone, their social media presence alone, to make $15 million profitable. But I guess for that, you'd have to actually be popular on social media. I was looking forward to it until I saw Zegler was cast. No interest now. This movie isn't funny, scary, or anything. Jaden Martell mumbles his way through the movie just like he did in It. Rachel Zegler shouldn't be allowed anywhere near a movie. She's just plain awful. I want my money back. This mess of a movie was a complete waste of time. I swear Rachel Zegler can't act to save her life, and she's supposed to be playing Snow White. Who keeps casting this girl? She's bad luck. You did say, may his supporters and himself never know peace, and that you don't need their business.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business. Thanks.
It turns out you do need their business, actually, doesn't it? Talk about instant karma. Even I didn't expect it that quickly.
Have a little manners here, sir.
Y2K is real.
The flaws and failings of Y2K are legion, beginning with the inconsistent tone, a gross-out horror, a sentimental celebration of outcasts finding redemption, a quirky coming-of-age teen film. It has elements of all of this, coupled together in a slapdash fashion, without ever settling on the main approach. Y2K and Killer Robots sounds like a great idea for an action comedy, but as each scene unfolds, we realize Mooney has no idea what he's doing with the actors, all of whom flail around without much purpose. Awkward pauses left in with due to inept editing or acting. Maybe when you deliver your lines, don't put in awkward pauses that people have to edit out to make you seem competent. If there was a virus, it infected the entire production, and this mess is the result. Now, the review from the AV Club seems a bit too specific, like they've got an awkward chip over their shoulder about someone in particular. Mooney also has a comedic fascination with aughty, burnout suburbanites, overgrown children who could never escape the purgatory of their hometown after high school, someone who was a backward-capped plant enthusiast with a roll of rubber in each shirt pocket, who lived with his mum and strutted around grade schoolers to seem cool. Remarkably specific, this. This is coming across very Who Hurt You? Or maybe it was just Rachel Zegler that harmed the movie. As Deadline says, the movie's booked in at 2,100 theaters, and if there was any time to release the film, it's now, as there won't be any screens with Mufasa and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Social media diagnostics put it 21% below the pre-opening social media stats of first installment horror films. And that's just people talking about the movie, which includes negative press from Rachel. That will have increased the numbers anyway. So at 21% below normal stats, even with her magnetically negative personality, she can't get people talking about this. Their social media universe is less than Cuckoo, Taro, and Longlegs, which I've never heard of. With the negative chatter being spotted as unimpressed by the style or plot, with fans who express their struggle of their loyalty to A24. Just continues to miss. Disappointed with creative decisions. And when will filmmakers understand that the 90s should never be filmed on digital? The exit polls were also bad. 65% positive, 50% would recommend, with male leaning at 58%. Well, there's your problem. It should be way more than 58%. The entire point of Millenium Bug was it revolved around technology. Who's interested in technology the most? More than 58%. Oh no. The diversity demos were 50% Caucasian. She won't like that.
I'm a white Latina. Falls on my shoulders to open up the doors for the people who, or they're disenfranchised.
Just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business. Thanks.
I doubt she wanted any of them to turn up at all. They're not even meant to know peace, let alone go to the movies. In fact, bizarrely, at the same time, an IMAX re-release of Interstellar got double the amount of money that Y2K did as a new release. There's one thing we can work out, is that Rachel, not a movie star. The screenplay attempts the cliche forcing of mismatched characters to get along. At the factory, it's revealed that Laura, which is Rachel, is not only a pretty popular girl, she's also a coding whiz. Oh, they're ever so common. It's where Miss Universe gets all of their recruits, the Path of Exile 2 community forums.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Kegels?
There's a reason why Dwarf Fortress was made by a load of blokes and not a Miss Universe contestant. But no, it turns out that Rachel is the key to saving the world. They gotta hack the mainframe of the AI, who are determined to assimilate all of the humans into mindless servants. Oh no. It's the patriarchy. Y2K feels 24's late and book short. It's like no one bothered with Y2K movies because the premise was already dated. Mooney doesn't know where to draw the line between satire and sentimentality, lackadaisical dags about dial-up noises, aim chats and rap rock. It's banking on these things to carry the film rather than enjoyable jokes or characters. You wanted a likable character, why did you get Rachel Zegler? You must have listened to one of her you must have interviewed her, surely. The characters are all varyingly miscast, poorly written, or otherwise unwieldy. Zegler and Martel have negative chemistry. Who can blame him? These people repulse each other. Yes, like she does on social media. Funnier instincts have been replaced by weak jokes, weak characters, and weak storyline. Y2K is the result of the most banal instincts of an artist who fell victim to nostalgia trends of his own, trying to recapture something that worked in the past instead of trying something new. Nothing of what you described worked in the past, just so we're aware. When exactly were weak jokes, weak characters, and a weak storyline the sign of a quality movie? Y2K loses its way at the end of the world. Well, if we're lucky, one of the characters might eat another one. Maybe that's why it's such an awkward movie, because you're watching it just hoping that one of the characters gets what they deserve, and also knowing it'll never happen. Well, we can't off the main character, the headliner of the movie, can we? Which is the problem. What is even happening in this picture? I don't even know what that is. Y2K suffers from an aimless plot and an over-reliance on nostalgia, and this is where this review gets unbelievable. Its greatest mistake may be neglecting the strongest members of its cast. Zegler and Martel are two walking charm factories. I'm sorry.
Do you speak the language? Does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Do you eat the food? Does it matter?
All of the people were angry.
Like,
Those people.
very
And that's one of the things. There's very mixed opinions about this show, and I'm kind of like, well, I don't know whether it's taste or lying, but Dennison is woefully underused. Compared to Screen Rant, Dennison is the highlight of the sci-fi horror comedy. Jokes become repetitive, and no emotional anchor to hold the film down. And character development largely goes out the window as well. Zegler makes the most of what she gets, which isn't a lot. Her character is underbaked at best, and by the time she's firing on all cylinders, it's too little too late for any meaningful development. Y2K will find an audience, but it's not going to be memorable. Some gullible prats will pay to watch it and then entirely forget it the moment they leave the cinema. It's almost like you know what you're going to get with this movie and you're disappointed the moment you do. And as ever, we get the fresh reviews, which are also just more negative. Y2K has more pop culture quips than actual meaning. Fresh. I'd love to know how they mark them up and down. That's only got a 5 out of 10. An attempt at comedy that's a genuine disaster. Y2K wasn't a disaster, but this comedy is. Y2K's narrative hinges on Rachel's computer skills. The apocalypse is confirmed then. Where they dramatize hacking in the same absurd virtual reality manner in which computers look like digital skyscrapers. But the film fails to devise a witty or bonkers twist that might energize its rampant retro fetishism. Instead, it jokes about teens having adult stuff on their computers, aiming to embellish a paper-thin plot. Dull, recurring bit about pretentious hip-hop stylings. The proceedings occasionally suggest that the writing-directing duo are trying to parody their chosen genres, yet in the end, the effort is futile, as the material's humor is limp. Well, I mean, he was trying to kiss Rachel Zegler at midnight, what did you expect? No, the problem with the movie seems to be, the movie is only funny if you think it's hilarious to sit through an hour and a half of random 1990s references. A slow-loading image of a 1990s computer may seem kinda cool, but it's just not worth the wait. The problem for the creators of the movie seems to be just a comedy that people can either take or leave, but they'll either dislike it or kind of be okay with it. Very few people think it's amazing, they just think, it's about average. So with that, you rely on the cast and crew to get people into the movie. They relied on the poster girl, Rachel Zegler, being well known enough from all of her hit movies, of which she probably got paid a decent chunk to do this movie as well. And it's her name that they're using to get people through the doors. Oh, Rachel Zegler's in it. I remember being in the 90s and going through that. I'll go and see it. Whether they were disappointed or not at the end doesn't really matter so much, as once you've got them through the doors, you've got their money anyway. I doubt they ever intended to make a sequel where that effect really would have shown itself. But the problem seems to be, well, apart from Rachel's acting, which wasn't very well reviewed in this is one-off, if not her first movie, where they didn't turn it into a musical for her. But it's more the fact that their marketing seemed to rely on getting her into the movie, her to be the one that got all the social media buzz going for it, and it just didn't. Even when they include positive and negative sentiments, still not interested. A budget movie of $15 million has to be very careful where they spend every cent. And if they're paying someone like Rachel Zegler a premium to be in the movie, then you better make sure you choose the right name actor. Because I don't just think that Rachel Zegler didn't help this movie, but I think all the attention that she's got from running her mouth and being unable to stop hurt it. But those those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.